everybody, and welcome to Empire's Podcast of the Week. I am your host, Stephen Ogden, and it's good to be here, see everybody again. Let's see, today's podcast is going to be on the power of the prosecuting attorney, how much power the prosecuting attorney has, and how that affects everybody, and the dangers of that. Let me start off with a little bit about what's going on around the unit, how things are going, what's going on with me, and then we'll move on to our subject. Everybody's sick again. That tends to be a thing here. We have communal bathrooms, communal living, and everybody is getting sick. And when one of the guys gets it, everybody gets it here. Luckily, I haven't caught it this time. It's only a matter of time now. So if I'm off for a couple weeks, it's probably because I'm sick. A friend of mine was in the bathroom a minute ago, and he told me, he goes, "Man, Menace is so sick, he's down there reading the Bible." It made me laugh because Menace doesn't ever read the Bible. He must have been pretty sick. But let's see. We'll move on from that. Let's talk about this prosecuting attorney. And I want to start by talking about prosecutorial misconduct. And what exactly is prosecutorial misconduct? To put it simply, it is when a prosecutor wins at any cost with no ethical boundaries. Let me say this real quick. I want to say that not every prosecutor is like this. Not every prosecutor is bad. There's a lot of prosecutors that are out there that are trying to clean up the community and trying to do the right thing. And I think that's why most of them take the job, right? Because they want to see a safe area for everybody to live in. And I get that. That's what we need, right? Somewhere, someplace, things go wrong, though, and that absolute power corrupts. And when that happens, it's dangerous, man. It's a dangerous, dangerous thing. What are some of the instances of prosecutorial misconduct? And one of the biggest issues in America is exculpatory evidence being hidden from the defense. And what is exculpatory evidence? That is evidence that tends to clear a defendant from fault or guilt. So if, there's a DNA on a handgun that is somebody else's, not the defendant's, and the DA hides that, that's winning at any cost. You know what, this guy didn't really do it. What if he was innocent of the case? And the district attorney, the prosecuting attorney, decides to not give that evidence over to the district attorney, or they give it to him at the last minute where they don't have time to use that evidence in most favorable for the defendant, and this stuff tends to happen a lot. And so it's what they call a Brady violation, is when they don't turn over evidence discovery in time or at all, and it could have cleared the defendant. I'll give you an example of something that happened to me. 2013, I went to trial for a drug charge. They had found a gun in the vehicle. I went to trial. I didn't have an attorney. I went pro se. I fought the case all by myself, acting as my own attorney. All the way through trial, there's two district attorneys against me. We get to closing arguments, and the district attorney takes the pistol that was found in the car and points it at the jury. Of course, it's, safety's on, and, whatever, but, this is a jury of 12 people that are outstanding members of their community. They're standing in for a trial, and the district attorney is pointing a weapon at them, saying, "If you let this man out, if you find him innocent today, he's going to be guilty of this charge, or he's going to be guilty, or he's going to be in your neighborhood with this gun, waving weapons around, pointing them at people, menacing people." That scared the death out of that jury, and I argued it. I objected. The judge let it happen. 3.5 days later, after they had deliberated for 3.5 days, I was convicted. I appealed on that issue, and the appellate court actually ruled in my favor and said, "Hey, this DA should not have done that." But it wasn't enough to overturn the conviction. How does it, But that's for another story. But that's one of the small things. When a district attorney does many, many small things in a trial that are against the rules, it's like the samurai says, death by 1,000 cuts. Those cuts add up. And, that's one of the things that DAs do to win by any means necessary. prosecutor really have? It's a lot. Prosecutor can do whatever he wants. He can charge you. He can throw out charges. He has more power than the judge has. The judge sits there to be the guy in the middle that doesn't lean to the left or the right. He's just supposed to be there to make sure the rules are followed. And he has some power. Don't get me wrong, as a judge, but he can't just throw your case out if he wants. If he does, it goes to the appellate court, and the appellate court can rule. There's a couple times where a judge can throw a case out, but it all lands on the DA. If he wants to give you a plea agreement, that's up to him. That's not up to the judge. The judge can deny it, but they never do that. Not very often. Another thing that they can do is is ask for more time when you've never really been in a lot of trouble. They pretty much are they are the say-so of what happens with your case. If you should be charged with a misdemeanor, they can charge you with a felony. If you should only be charged with 3 charges, they can charge you with 50. And what we say here is they throw a bunch of slop at the wall and they see what sticks. And when a jury is overwhelmed with 50 charges, when you should only be charged with 2, you look very, whoever's sitting in front of that jury, they look very guilty. There's 50 charges here. It's called charge stacking. And, another thing that they do is, like, say a guy is guilty of auto theft, but they charge him with robbery because of some terminology that somebody used at the scene. The guy might not really be charged with robbery, or he might not really be guilty of robbery, but the district attorney overcharges to get the defendant to take an unfavorable plea agreement. They want him to plead guilty to auto theft, but they charge him with robbery. If they charge him with auto theft to begin with, then the plea agreement is going to be lower. Something that I'm going through right now is the 3 strikes law. Technically, I'm not eligible for the 3 strikes law. In Colorado, you have to have 2 felonies and then a third within the last 10 years, and they have to be grave and serious. Gates Wells, which is a case that took place in Colorado Supreme Court, appellate court, they actually discussed and defined what grave and serious charges are. My charges are not considered grave and serious. Nobody was injured. Nobody was hurt. Grave and serious are, murder, violent charges, and things like that. The charges they're using for me is a butterfly knife that they sell at Walmart and a possession with intent to distribute. And both charges, Wells Yates actually defined that and said that neither one of those charges are habitual eligible. But here I sit in front of the district attorney that's charged me with 2 counts of the habitual offender. And technically they can't even give me 2 counts. They can only give me 1 count of habitual. And he aggravated the charge and overcharged me. So now he's trying to force me to take a plea agreement from them. And instead of him reading my file and saying, hey, instead of him getting to know who I am, he just looks at my file and says, this guy needs to go away for a long time. He's been in trouble before. He's an ex-gang member. I don't want him on our streets. Instead of saying, hey, who is this person really? And that actually takes me to forensic mitigators and what a forensic mitigator is. How do they shed a different light on things? A forensic mitigator is somebody hired by the defense that interviews your family, your friends, the victim, anybody present at the scene, people that know you, your teachers, your boss at a job, and they come up with a file that shows who you really are today, not what your file in front of the district attorney says. And then they take this, give it to your attorney, who presents it to the DA and says, hey, look, man, this guy, he's got a drug addiction. These are the factors going on in his life, and we could really help this person if we did this differently. And I was blessed. I got a forensic mitigator. Her name is Rachel, and she drove all the way to Cheyenne to even meet with my sister, which was awesome. Like, I couldn't believe that this woman went out of her way to help so much to interview my family. She met with my father. She met with my mother. She met with my ex-fiance. She met with everybody. And this file is now actually finally being read by the district attorney in my case, which is, I'm glad. He's taking a look at it. He's reading it. He's going to decide if I'm not really the guy that my file says I am. And I wish that everybody going in front of the DAs and in the court, I wish all defendants could get a mitigator now, because I think that most of the people aren't as bad as the files make us out to be. One of the things that these prosecutors are using now is a analytic tool that shows crime in an area and who's the problem. And they're taking these analytics and they're saying, okay, we have to go after this person or this group of individuals. And this analytical tool that they're using is actually making it harder on people of color, on lower income areas, drug addicts, and this is something that I think should happen. I think that they should take this analytical tool and say, instead of taking it and attacking somebody and throwing them away for the rest of their life, why don't they take this analytical tool and say, how can we help this individual? Instead of throwing him away and putting him in prison for the rest of his life, let's take this tool and say, okay, this individual or this group of individuals needs help. This is where we need to put our resources. This is how much money we need to spend here. Because incarcerating somebody for the rest of their life costs millions and millions of dollars. Probably, a few $1 million, depending on how young the person is. $60,000 a year, $55,000 a year to house somebody in here. So that builds up over time and time and time. All the people that are in here are costing the taxpayers millions of dollars. And imagine if they took, a fraction of that money and put it towards drug and alcohol treatment, a college education. What if they put it towards, housing? There's a ton of things that they could do with that money, but instead they just incarcerate and incarcerate and incarcerate. So I would, like to see prosecutors take on a different job. Well, it's actually the same job, but I'd like to see them start prosecuting differently. Instead of saying, let's incarcerate people for the rest of their life, let's find out what's going on with these guys and see what we can really do to help. Because incarcerating people for the rest of their lives isn't helping anybody. I mean, I shouldn't say that. It's a Band-Aid. It helps for a minute. But how much better could that money be spent? How many lives could be saved? How many kids could actually spend time with their father? Moms get to see their son before they pass. Sons get to see their mother before they pass. I want to spend time with my father before he goes. I've missed out on it my whole life, and I'm at a point now where, better late than never, right? And I see, a chance to, have a real relationship with my father and, spend some time and, go biking with them and camping and just all the stuff I've missed out on. And I just want a chance at that. And, I've had chances before. We all have, but, I'm just praying to God, and I just hope that all you guys have my back and, pray for me too. And, maybe send some letters to my judge and my district attorney in El Paso County, Colorado, and say, hey, Stephen Ogden isn't that bad of a guy, man. He deserves a chance. Give him a chance. I got court, I think, June 6th of this year. If anybody wants to write some letters and say you see my podcast and you think I should get another chance at life, I would really appreciate it. Maybe you guys can post them on my Facebook group page at Empire Corp. I'd appreciate it, man. Thanks for being present. Thanks for being here and giving me your time. That's all for this week. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Take care.